Welcome everyone once again and good morning to all of you. Today we have another very distinguished guest with us, a old and the great name in Indian capital markets, Ms. Sampa Bhasin. Ms. Sampa Bhasin is the veteran and the old hand in Indian capital market. She used to lead the SBI Capital business in India. Then she moved to advisory and has been the director of Anderson in India. And for the last almost for 20 years, she has been in London and leading the European transaction business for Indian transactions. So, welcome, Sampa.
Hi, Deepak. How are you?
Good to see you after a long time. And I just for the viewers, when I started my careers, we were like kids in front of Sampa, and Sampa was like,
You're showing me my age, Deepak. It's okay.
no. I'm not talking about the age. I'm talking about the experience, Sampa. And here we are going to discuss or try to take some kind of a juice out of your experiences. So, Sampa, this unprecedented circumstances, whether it is London or India, we all are going through it. Is London different than India, or it's more or less same?
I think people-wise, people are both scared, both in India as well as London. And I think globally, we will see very similar trends. So people losing jobs, people unable to pay their debts, businesses really suffering very badly. I mean, businesses are right now being supported a little bit by the governments in both India as well as UK and Europe. But that's not going to last. I mean, government cannot be running businesses. So finally, we will come to a state where we will have to stand up on our feet. And it's going to be very tough, very, very tough. In fact, the second quarter, we are assuming that there will be a lot of layoffs and closures.
Sampa, these are all what we have been speculating, and some of us must be feeling now also. Sampa, with your experience, as you have been in both the markets, India and UK, and actively participated in European transaction towards India. So, what is your feel? Means how the company should look at the circumstances and how they should prepare themselves.
I think, if you're in the corporate role, obviously you will have to stay positive, right? So, as they say, every dark cloud has a silver lining. And I also am a very positive person. So something will bounce up. Even now, if you look at it, some of the industries are really thriving even in COVID situation. In fact, there are people who are now running COVID indexes, so it is very interesting, but businesses will have to change. Okay, there is no doubt about it. So even in this situation, if you see, some of the large deals are still taking place, right? So you in India itself, you had Facebook buy into Geo, followed by Silver Lake coming in. So there is a large investment that is going in there. And I think in India, the biggest positive that I see, it's still a huge market. It's a very skilled market, right? So these two things will always have interest from foreign investors to go into India.
Sampa, this Facebook deal or means other transactions which are in pipeline, what we are hearing, these are normally meant for the large companies like Reliance and others. But how you look at that, small and medium businesses who has been, struggling otherwise also, how you look at them?
So for small and medium businesses, again, it's a question of trying to reorganize their own businesses. And many people are doing that. So some time back, we were talking to one, chain of restaurants in India itself. And they were telling us that, because now they are not very sure as to when the restaurants will really be fully functional, they have moved into online deliveries. Okay, which is again, so these are the small changes that people will have to make. There is no option for that, so you have to make those changes. Then we had a grocery online delivery, which was mostly B2B, and they have moved to B2C. So what they have done is they have gone ahead, and this is a grocery business based out of Bangalore, and they also have some chains in Delhi. And what they are doing is that they are moving into tying up with housing societies. Okay, So it is still not really a B2C directly, but in a way, a semi B2C to B sort of a thing. So people have to adapt their business deliveries.
So the change is definitely there, and as we have been talking, there will be new normals of the new situation, right? But like, since you have so much experience on the transaction side, what is your view on the consolidation? Do you think that consolidation in business is the new normal?
I am assuming that in the next 6 months we will see some consolidation. So why does consolidation happen? Let's look at that, right? So consolidation happens when a business is more or less stable. So it always happens in the third phase of the business life cycle, right? So when you are stable and you're looking for growth, and for some reason you don't have the cash to grow, right? Then you start looking for possible, strategic partnerships or someone to buy you out or something like that. So that is what happens. So consolidation will definitely happen, and every time you have a crisis, you always see consolidation. So if you see, the last wave of consolidations happened after the financial services crisis, right?
Right.
So the financial crisis led to a lot of consolidation. Again, it was not because the businesses were bad. It is never the case that business really is bad. It's always the case of cash flow problems, right? So right now, whoever I'm advising, especially in the smaller segments, so medium and small businesses, I am just telling them to have a really good view on their cash flow position, because that is extremely important as of now. So people, what they are doing right now are trying to cut down on all sorts of expenses which are not really critical to the business. You have to do that. There is no option. Right now, it is what I'm trying to tell people is you have to both do the survival mode as well as start planning the exit strategy.
So you foresee that that consolidation is one of the option left, and that may lead because of the tight cash flows. Am I right in understanding, Sampa?
Absolutely. Consolidation mainly will be driven because of cash flow issues.
Another question I have, Sampa, is on the capital flow. Although you started giving the example of Reliance and Facebook transaction, but when it comes to, again, small and medium businesses, they have been very hopeful. Since India shining, the demand was rising. A lot many people were looking to enter into India or maybe acquiring something. What is your feel on that capital flow post-COVID? Or the localization will be the globalization? What will be the new normal as per you?
Yeah, so on that, Deepak, when I speak to the European companies, India is still very attractive for them. There is no doubt about it. Because look at the way why do they look at India? Why do they actually look at India? They look at India mainly for 3-4 things. One, the domestic market itself is a huge market, okay, which is very exciting. Number one. Number two, costs in India are still lower compared to Europe. I'm not going to say that 20 years back they were seriously low. Now they are not that low, but they are still lower compared to Europe. Okay, so there is a cost advantage. Third, that is the biggest thing, is that you have an amazing skilled workforce at all levels. Okay, and that skilled workforce always is a big attraction for European buyers. I used to have a French client. I'm still in touch with them. And one of the reasons why they wanted to go to India was that they wanted to increase their EBITDA margin. And they couldn't do it with just European acquisition. They had to go to an emerging market. And for them, India made a lot of sense. Okay. So these three things are not going to go away from India. Right? So if these three things are not going to go away, there will be capital flow. But you are right in saying for some time we might see a little bit of localization, because now when I speak to the European clients, they are all trying to protect their current businesses. So now those current businesses can be in Europe, they might already be in India, right? So if you are talking to VCs or if you are talking to strategic or corporates, all of them will say for the short term, they will all looking at their own portfolio. They are consolidating their own portfolio before they start looking outside. and which is a fair enough point.
Great, Sampa, your piece of knowledge is really, I hope, will be very valuable for the viewers. Viewers, Sampa is a friend and she's IIM Grad. And after, she left E&Y London 4 years ago, and she has been a mentor, advisor, and helping a lot of businesses to grow faster. So for any of your queries, please do write to us. We'll connect you and Sampa together. Sampa, thank
That
you
would be very
very much
kind.
for this chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you very much.